am Coach K, and this is the P Word Podcast. All right, let's click it in. Click it in. Click it in. Click it in. All right, y'all, take a sip. We are here with our dietitian, Stephanie. Coach Steph. Coach
My
Steph.
name is Coach Steph. I am a registered dietitian, personal trainer, and a mindset transformation coach. I am the host of the Fit Figure Formula coaching program, and I'm a macros and mindset coach.
What are macros? Because we really need to, I'm always surprised that people don't know.
This is short for macronutrients. This is your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. It's the only way that you get calories outside of alcohol.
Oh, well, with that being said, let's just check it out. Since you're here, I did have a little snack, right? So on my plate, I have cantaloupe, I have cucumbers, celery, turkey pepperoni, right? I do have this delicious truffle cheese, y'all, and a couple of crackers, but I have my Greek yogurt dip for my, for my veggies. Is this good? I mean, what should I do with it?
So I always say everything in moderation. So I never tell my clients they can't have something. Just looking up this, I would say that it probably needs a little bit more protein, but I love that you have fresh veggies, that you swapped out like the regular dip for Greek yogurt dip.
Most
That was really
definitely.
smart, and some fruit there. So looks good.
Heard her say something about alcohol, right? Well, y'all know Coach K loves a good cocktail. Click that thing in, girl. Yeah, think it's it. Yes, because I knew I had the dietitian in the building, I was sure to make a low calorie cocktail. So I began, of course, with a little gin. Little gin make you sin, right? So a little gin and fresh blueberries and strawberries. Shake it up. Go ahead in your cocktail shaker, and then I poured it over ice, topped it over with club soda. Also added a little fresh lavender from the garden. Just saying, I'm fancy, huh? What about this?
If you're going to drink, but you're concerned about calories, having some alcohol with mixed with something that does not have any calories is a great option. So I love that you put the fruit in there. I love that you put some fresh herbs from your garden. So again, everything in moderation. My clients can still lose weight even if they have alcohol in moderation.
It is time to get down to the P because we got questions. That perimenopause is a dirty word. We just, tends to make us not quite feel ourselves. Definitely while we're going through this process, weight loss is very hard. So I have some questions. We're going to get down to the P, baby. And the first question is, why is it so daggone hard to lose weight during this time?
Yeah. So when estrogen starts to decline, you are losing muscle and you're not as sensitive to your carbohydrates. So you may not be eating anything drastically different, but your body is changing and it is relating to food differently. So your metabolism is slowing down just a little bit. So even if you're eating the same thing, it might actually cause weight gain.
That even some of the things that I usually have in my diet, it just doesn't seem to do the same. So I don't like it. I guess it's a fact of life. What should I be eating though? If I'm looking to lose weight, be fine, it's all outside. What should I do?
So what I tell my clients, I give them formulas, Fit Figure formula, protein, carbs, fat. You want to have that at every single meal. So breakfast and snacks typically are notoriously low on protein. So if you're going to beef up your protein in any areas, those are probably the two first areas I would go for. But making sure that you have balanced meals throughout the day and that you're not trying to starve yourself. That is very important and different from your 20s when you were just eating 1,200 calories. We actually just need a little calorie deficit and then to make sure you're walking and strength training.
You said that people should have protein, right? Fats, and your carbs.
Yeah.
Now, we know carbs gives you majority of your energy, right? So what types of carbs do you suggest people go to?
So I focus on adding food versus taking away. So instead of saying don't eat sugar, I always say let's get to your minimum of 25 grams of fiber.
Okay.
So the three types of carbohydrates that we focus on are whole fruits, whole vegetables, and whole grains with at least 3 grams of fiber or more per serving. So those crackers,
Mm-hmm.
I would just look on the label and see, does it have 3 grams of fiber or more per serving?
Okay.
And that's kind of like one of the first things you look for.
Okay. Now, with protein, you mentioned that, of course, I didn't have enough on this plate. How much protein should I be looking for during this time?
So there's not one correct number, right? I give my clients a range, and that's based on their preferences, their goals, and their skill level, because it is a skill to
Hmm.
be able to hit 30 grams of protein per meal and snack. That is a skill, and that's something that I teach. But normally it averages out to be around 30 grams per meal and
Okay.
snack.
Okay. I You mentioned that breakfast
Mhm.
was a hard time for people to get in protein.
Mhm.
I wouldn't think so. Why do
It
you?
is.
Why? I mean, it's not for me,
Mhm.
obviously, but why do you find that protein is hard to get? Because I know people don't usually eat vegetables with breakfast. I always encourage that, but I'm encouraging vegetables more or less of the protein. Why?
One, they're skipping breakfast. They're not even
Hmm.
eating breakfast at all. Number one.
Okay.
That's probably like the biggest reason. The second reason is like 2 eggs, like maybe gives you 12 grams of protein. But if we're
Hmm.
trying to go for 30, normally it's like way more carb heavy. So we're having fruit, we're having oatmeal, and those things are not bad. It's just like, it's just not going to get you closer to your 30 grams. So
Hmm.
something that I like to do is, if I'm picking carbs, I like to have carbs that have additional protein. Like if I do my
Ah.
Killer Dave's bagel with a little bit of extra protein, I love smoked salmon for
Mm.
breakfast on a bagel
Okay.
with some avocado.
Okay. Did y'all see her face? She was like,
That's my
mm.
jam. Okay, that
I
is
can
my jam.
tell.
I eat that almost every morning.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, smoked salmon, half a bagel with either cream cheese, because
Mm-hmm.
I do cream cheese as well,
Mm-hmm.
or avocado. But just making sure that you're getting close to 30 grams of protein per meal and snack for breakfast, and that is going to transform your cravings in the evening
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
move your calories up in the day instead of having so many sugar cravings at night.
Okay. What about just certain? You said fats, so we think of fats. Like you said, we know it's our oil and so forth. So when choosing fats to include in your diet during this time to lose weight, because that's the goal. That's what we're talking about, right?
Mhm.
Weight loss. What kind of fats and how much of, or a kind of formula should you start with?
So when I say healthy fats, I'm talking about olives, I'm talking about avocado, I'm talking about chia seeds, hemp seeds, any kind of nuts and seeds. Now, the thing is that there's not one right number. Again, this is
Right.
why I teach macros, is
Mm-hmm.
because I can have the breakfast that I mentioned before, and maybe I'm having like Greek yogurt with chia seeds, etc. And I have my whole meal, and that meal, all of my portions are exactly on point for my calories.
Okay.
Now, I can have the same breakfast and the same snack a different day and have different lunch and dinner, and maybe those macros are different. So, this is why there's not one right number. Being able to see, we pre plan our macros
Mm-hmm.
so that we can hit our macros every day without having to
So
track. Being able to have a balance of protein, carbs, and fat is going to help you feel more satisfied, but also have some anti inflammatory properties as well.
Did y'all hear that? She said anti-inflammatory. We know what that means because we have horrible joint pain during this time. So just saying, I don't know about y'all, but that made me say, with that, like you said, the anti-inflammatory properties. What foods? Because we know turmeric or so forth. So what foods do you think that should be included? Just nutrients in general during this time to support that perimenopause menopause phase.
Your single ingredient foods. So, if it has one ingredient like chicken, uh, avocado, salmon, your healthy fat like chia seeds, your almonds, all of those types of things, we want to be planning our meals. That's
Yeah.
probably one of the biggest things that I see.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you can have moderation in some processed foods,
Mm-hmm.
but eating single ingredient whole foods is going to be helpful, and planning is going to help that happen.
The biggest thing that I find
Yeah.
with my clients, or just when I'm talking to people in general, they're like, wonder what I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Girl, I knew what I was eating this morning when I woke
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
How do you suggest that people get into that planning mode? Because obviously, like you said, in order to lose weight, right? You
Mhm.
said that we have to hit the food groups, right? We have to make sure that we have our carbs, our fats, our protein. Got to make sure that we get the fiber because we need to keep it moving, right?
Mhm.
And then, we have just that added bonus, the anti-inflammatory properties. So what should I'm just suggested items that maybe if you like it could be staples in your diet during this time.
It's the really simple things: fruits, vegetables, right? Lean protein. Again, like those formulas are really, really helpful, and it helps you to pick whole foods. And again, understanding your food, like actually understanding your macros so that you can put together meals that you don't need a dietitian for. This is
Mm-hmm.
why I help my clients not need me anymore, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or not need a meal plan so that you know how to put together a plan that you actually like, that's not restrictive, that's going to help you reach your goals.
Always moderation, and then again the planning aspect of it
Yes.
is huge.
How I help my clients plan, I give them three options. Either one, they're an option one person where they like to plan one time for the week.
Mm,
Some people will pick option two, where they plan twice a week for 3 days at a time, flex the seventh day.
mm,
Option three is plan one day for the next day. So some people don't
mm.
like to plan too far in advance because they already
Mhm.
know it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
for some people who like variety or spontaneity, they will just plan for the next day.
Okay.
And that's really helpful to give people options for their lifestyle and what their preferences are.
What about, and it's a big thing, so I have to ask
Uh-huh.
it, the GLP-1s.
Okay.
And you mentioned that strength training, right? And making sure that most people aren't eating enough
Mhm.
during this phase of life. How do you, as a dietitian, how does that play? And
Ones, I put them on essentially the same plan, meaning they're eating still throughout the day, several times throughout the day, and they're having balanced meals, and they're actually strength training. So I don't mean working out with weights. I mean, you're progressively overloading, and that's really important because most people don't know how to work out hard with weights.
mm,
They know how to sweat and do a lot of cardio, but
mhm,
they don't know how to track their progress when it actually comes to strength training, getting stronger from
mhm,
week to week. So
mhm.
that's so important. Another thing I'll say about that is getting in body scans and actually tracking your muscle mass,
Okay.
because we're like, yay, we're losing weight, but you just lost all your muscle, and
Mhm,
you're going to gain weight
mhm, mhm,
on
mhm,
fewer calories later.
mhm.
And so the longevity of that is, I want to lose fat. So my clients with GLP-1s, I make sure that they're getting in-body scans every 4 weeks.
Okay.
So we're tracking that and making sure that we're strength training, eating enough calories, eating enough protein, and losing fats.
Popular now. A lot of people have them, so I felt like we just had to had to bring it into the conversation.
If you're on one, you need a dietitian even more. Like, you need assistance because your nutrition now has to be even more dialed in to get the micronutrients and things that you need as well. Iron, magnesium, calcium, things like that. So if you're on a GLP-1, you need more assistance, to be honest.
Just heard it. If you are on those GL1Ps, get over here. What's your number, girl? What's your number, girl? How did you get you? We need to know. All right. So you know what I heard you say was this is an intentional time in our lives, meaning we have to read the labels, right? We have to know what's in our food. Education, right? Being more educated on what we're actually eating and even our activity, even just knowing you mentioned the body scans. So knowing, actually what's happening with us during this time, I think that hand in hand it goes together,
Yeah, you
right?
do want to read your labels. You want to make sure that you understand how that label fits into your overall picture and overall calories for the day.
Mm.
So this means that sometimes something might have a lot of calories or might have a lot of sodium, but what else are you having throughout the day? Because you may still be able to fit it in depending on what the portion is.
What type of mindset, because you're a mindset coach, what type of mindset should women have during this time?
So I coach female perfectionists. So what that means is they're very critical. As soon as they mess up, they say screw it and I'm just going to start over on Monday, and that may not even happen. So being more compassionate with yourself, reflecting and adjusting instead of just being mean to yourself or thinking that you have to use more willpower, because willpower is going to fail. So if you're using willpower instead of a strategy, then you're just setting yourself up for failure. Create not only a strategy, but give them some mindset tools to be successful long term.
So it is time for tips for your toolbox. You know, Coach K always got something to show you. So this is my new favorite thing, guys. This is one of the vibration boards. Now, why is this my tip for the toolbox? That joint pain, y'all, that joint pain. This is phenomenal for your lymphatic system, guys. So all of that, kind of aches and pains that you have, man, they recommend a minimum of 10 minutes. Do yourself that 10 minutes and add 10 more. Do it every day. I promise you. I promise you. Now, if you have like some type of injury, it's probably not going to all take away that pain, because you know how like I have a hip issue, so my hip is always going to have a little something. But the rest of me, baby, I feel good. So go ahead. I'm gonna put a link up there. Go on, click on it. Get you one. Get you one, friend. Get you one. Oh, what is your tip, Coach Steph?
My tip is always just to keep things simple. Keep it simple and plan, and then reflect, and that's it.
I like that. Reflect. Why do you say now? Because I've heard you say to keep it simple. You know, you've worked with me a few times. So why reflect though? I've never heard you say that.
So the reflection part is I tell my clients to ask 3 questions. What went well this past week? What did not go well this past week? And how do I want to change it for the next week? So that way you never have 2 bad weeks in a row. You can have an off week, but you will always catch yourself if you have that reflection time actually on your calendar. It's really important to actually have it on your calendar.
Wow. That's really awesome, actually. I think I'm gonna take that tip. I'm gonna use her tip. I'm gonna use her tip, guys. I'm gonna use her tip. You may want to too. Just saying. All right, Coach Steph. So thank you so much for coming by. I really learned so much in this time, and I've been in this industry for years. But I do think that there's always something to be learned. And thank you for sharing your time and knowledge with us, guys. If you have any questions, any topics that you would like to be covered, drop it in the comments, shawty. We can help you out. If you have anything that you say, I don't want everybody to know. We do have the P Word podcast at Gmail, and you can email your question. You know, it's hard out here in these hormonal streets, baby. I'm here for you. Till next time. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share.